Welcome everybody. We're Toronto Prep School. This is Fuli, my mother. I'm Pete. We're here with Mr. Phil Jones, a former, well, no, he's still a father father of 3 TPS students. Phil, how are you?
Great. How are you?
It's so good to see Phil. We go way back. So Phil,
Sure.
Tell us how you found TPS.
So it's an interesting story. So my youngest brother Paul went to another school that Fuli and Steve were teaching at, and then he, I guess, had been following Fuli and Steve's careers, and then we were at the cottage, gosh, about 8 years ago, and my nephew's girlfriend at the time had just graduated from TPS, and so she was telling, so my brother Paul and my nephew's girlfriend were saying, oh yeah, Fuli and Steve, they taught me, yada yada, and she was raving about what a great experience that she had because she had just graduated and loved the school and so on and so forth. And so that was sort of our initial connection to the school. And then so at this point in time, our kids were kind of like I want to say grade 5 and grade 7. And what we had found was we knew that we were going to exit the public school system. And so we had started looking sort of at the end of grade 7, beginning of grade 8 for private schools for all 3 of our kids. So they would be entering the twins. So I have 3 kids, so boy-girl twins that are 20 years old. So they just finished second year university. And my youngest, our baby daughter is going to be 18 in October. She just graduated from Toronto Prep School this year. So yeah, exactly. So I think it's important to understand that in the sort of sequence of events, when we started looking, when the twins were in grade 8 and the baby was in grade 6, we started looking for a school for them to enter grade 7 and grade 9. And so to be frank, as we started looking, we didn't even go to any other school or apply to any other school other than Toronto Prep. For a number of reasons, and sort of the primary reason is that we wanted, I could speak for probably the next 12 hours about how great the school is, but I think it's important to understand that the initial sort of criteria was, had to have small classroom size, and yours was at Toronto Prep School is the smallest. Had to have young, energetic teachers, which at the time we knew that you guys had. But a critical criteria piece for us was no uniforms. And so we didn't want our children going to, never mind a single sex uniform school, but even a co-ed uniform school. That was super important to us. And so there's really only Toronto Prep and one other school that we know of that kind of fits that criteria. And we really didn't we didn't even go and speak to that other school, which we know. Mm-hmm. And so we came and we had a lovely meeting with Fuli, and do you remember that meeting, Fuli?
Oh, I remember that meeting. It was wonderful. It was wonderful. You and Sandy came in and we talked about the kids and
no, the kids, I think didn't the kids come for the second one?
For the second meeting. For the second
Yeah.
meeting, absolutely.
Yeah.
For the first one, we just talked about our program and that. But what I really liked and why I asked you if you would mind doing this for us, and you graciously accepted, is the fact that you have 3 children. And even though 2 of them are twins, those 3 children have very different personalities, very different academic abilities, very different interests.
Yep,
but all three really succeeded here at the school. And I thought
absolutely.
that was important for parents to know that we are all encompassing and all inclusive.
So,
And
I think I think to build on that, it's important to understand that even if they had gone to a single-sex uniform school or a co-ed uniform school where the classroom size is, 18, maybe even 20, I personally think they would have got lost. Because if you don't fit the mold at those schools, you're frankly no better off than the TDSB. And so what we really, really loved about your school is that if you don't fit the mold, and you have, in our case, 3 different, very, very different children, all able to succeed under one roof, it's like heaven on earth, And I think it's important for people to understand, like, and so if you don't mind, I'll just sort of go into a little bit of detail with the kids. So we have the twins, right? And the girl twin, super hard worker, and as a result of and being, she's very diligent, a very driven. As a result of her hard work, she gets she reaps the benefit of that success. The twin brother is extremely athletic, also bright, but kind of lacks the drive that his twin sister has. And so, what was great about Toronto Prep was that because there were these sort of young, inspirational teachers that kind of connected, and there was a number of them that almost became de facto older brothers for my son. And without getting into names, but there was certainly the athletics director. There was a math professor, math teacher that that he loved. I mean, there was just a gambit of different teachers that were able to inspire him and kind of make him feel compelled to work a little harder. And so that was the son. And then our youngest daughter, who just graduated, was, to be frank, she had some issues that were difficult for her to get through, not only school but life in general. And one thing about you guys was that you were able to accommodate every single one of her needs every step of the way in order for her to succeed. And because there's no way any other school would have provided, and I'm almost getting a little emotional here talking about it, because you guys.
Well,
oh, Phil, it means a lot.
It means so much to us, Phil, that we were able to help. And you know what? You did a great job with the kids. You and Sandy, we could tell they came. One of our big criteria, just to let you know too, and I told you this when you came in, we accept families to the school, not just kids, right? Yeah. I've turned away straight A students that come in with a little bit of attitude,
I'm sure, right?
Right. And you understand, Steve and I, being in the education field for so long, we meet a variety of families. We had met a variety of kids we've taught. At this point, it's thousands of kids. I mean, we're getting old here. But we always accept
easy
families.
now.
Yeah, we always accept families because we're working together.
Yeah.
I always say to parents, we're a safety net. Parents are holding one end of the safety net and we're holding the other end. And so one of the reasons we don't have a uniform is because we want the individuality of kids. We want them to be the best that they could be. And different kids go through a cycle, and kids mature. It's a work in progress, I call it, a work in progress.
Yeah.
So when you came in with Sandy, with your personalities, and we were so on the same page about what kids need and what attention they need and support, and when they need discipline, when they need love, when they need companionship.
Yes.
You're a parent, you have to do all that for your children when they're growing up. So we know as teachers and at the school, We have to be the same way. Kids don't fit in a square peg, but
No.
they are individuals. So when I used to teach in a classroom, I knew when to come down hard on one child and be a real
Yeah.
disciplinarian, and when I had to put my arm around the other child. And they were in
Yeah.
the same class. They were in the
Mm,
same class, right?
yeah.
So the rules are the rules. Kids need to know what the rules are, what the consequences are if those rules
Yeah.
get broken.
Yeah.
And we as adults have to recognize when the child is struggling, whether that be academically, emotionally,
Yes.
when it has to
Yeah.
do with friendship, family, school, whatever it may be, because they're little human beings, just
Yeah.
like us as adults, who
Yeah.
have to navigate through their feelings and their emotions. And high school is a tough place, man. It's
Oh,
a hard
is it
place,
ever?
right?
Yeah.
And the kids are finding themselves. So why do we have the small classes? So each teacher gets to know each and every one of their students.
Yes. Yeah.
Why do Steve and I run around the schools? Because we want to know our students. We,
Yeah.
we'll remember the families and what they do, and we want to know where they go
Oh,
on
Mom, can I interrupt
vacation.
you? One of my favorite memories, Phil, and you'll know this when I say it. So let's back up, everybody, back to grade 9, and we have one of our first years entering the TDCAA flag football championship. This is our grade 9 class. So this means we have 430 some odd students. At the
Yeah.
time, we probably had 300. I don't know.
Yeah.
It was 6 years ago now, I think, right?
Yeah.
Anyway, our grade 9s go in. Ethan, or we weren't going to use names. Okay, fine. Phil's son is on the team, and he's a wonderful athlete. He scored a bunch of touchdowns that day. Phil, you remember? But who was there also? Babu was there.
But
So
yes,
that's
he
grand
was.
For all the non-Greeks listening, because there's probably Babu, and I got to meet Babu, and it was the best. And we had a
Yes.
great day that day, and it was so nice. And we talked about the medical practice and being an immigrant and coming to Canada and stuff that I can really relate to. And we do that, of course, we do it with Phil and Sandy, but we try to do it with everybody. And a lot of times we'll say we're a family here, and it's cliche and it sounds empty, but it's true. We are family, and we do get to know our families. So we are invested, and it's not lost on kids and teenagers.
Yeah.
It's not lost on them. They can pick up on it too. I think.
And that's a good segue into another topic that I think is terribly important to discuss, and that is the opportunity for kids at the school to play on a team. And so now, hockey, there are some teams, obviously, they're going to be a little bit more competitive than others, i.e. hockey.
Mhm.
But save that. What I tell everybody is that what's wonderful about the school is that no matter your skill level, your child could participate in whatever sport he or she wants to. And so it's not like, oh my God, I don't know if I'm going to make the team. Oh my gosh, it's kind of like, it's my youngest daughter never ever had no interest in doing track and field or anything like that. For some reason, Mr. Ost was able to compel her and 3 of her friends to run in the track team. And so, of course, I had to go. I still have the pictures in my phone from this. I had to go and sit there on the track with a couple other dads and just watch our daughters in awe. I mean, they didn't do too well, but still, at the end of the day, they were there. And then he managed this next year to get her to run in track and not track and field, in cross country in the rain. And I was flabbergasted. How does this happen, right? And so I think it's important because that will give kids the confidence as well, with their ability to, it enables them to join these teams and enjoy kind of like a team environment. And okay, so what if the team doesn't do well? At least they're having a great time, right? Being together, taking the day off school or half a day or whatever, right? And I think that's important for parents to understand.
Phil, you're so right. I'm happy you said that, because when Phil's youngest was in grade 7, we started our first all-girls volleyball team. Okay, and I bring this up because Phil's
I don't even remember this, man.
This was a long time ago. Phil.
Yes, it was.
But it's funny because this cohort just graduated, so we were going through pictures to find, and I found the girls' volleyball pictures, and I showed, and we were laughing, saying, Yeah, we don't remember what we did in grade 7 math. To be honest, obviously we learned our stuff, but it's those moments, right? When we were driving, when we went to we drove to Waldorf, but then Waldorf called us and said, "Oh, we gave you the wrong campus address. Sorry, it's at our other campus." So we tried to schlep all the way up to that, but we couldn't get. Those are the memories that we were laughing about.
100%.
Totally right. Totally right.
And we have 2 cases too. We had, one was the girls' ball hockey team. Half the girls had never even picked up a hockey stick.
Wow.
The boys lent us their hockey sticks. We picked up a few, and guess what? They won the championship because they had heart. They played like tigers. They weren't afraid to go into the corners. When they came back with that pennant, they were jumping up and down and challenged the boys to come back with another pennant themselves. That was the one story. The second story, we had a young lady who had never played basketball before in her life. She only got onto the team because we needed her as an extra in order to qualify. Well, we did really well, and it came to a game where we were up a few points, and they actually put her in the game, and she scored her first basket. Well, the girls went insane. They were jumping up and down. The other team thought that did they win an award or something? But they were just, this is little Sarah, who never even held the ball, hit the basket in a regular game against another school. And our girls just went crazy. Happy for her, you know? And so I know a lot of my teachers say they love coaching the girls. It's better than the boys because they support each other so much. And they get into the camaraderie, and they just want to have fun. And I'm so glad that your girls were able to do that for sure, because we know your son was just an incredible athlete. And of course he played in all the
different. He's a different league, but you know, certainly. And I remember, frankly, Pete, I remember when the twins were in grade 9, and so you said, well, we have to get Conky on a team, and
that's right.
And so so what does she do? She dances and does trampoline, and you immediately started looking for trampoline competitions for her.
That's right.
And so that's the point. But that's the point. The point is, even if there isn't a team, you guys were willing and open to look for some sort of athletic competition for them in a field that is a little more esoteric, right? So I thought that was really cool.
But Phil, you know, and my mom says this all the time. I'm like, kids are smart, and the second they know that you believe in them, that you show confidence in them. Again, it's cliche,
100%.
that we actually care about you. When I'm telling you to do your homework, it's not because I'm being a jerk and I want to ruin your weekend. It's because this will help you, and I care about you, and you can do it. Stop saying that you're not a math person or a language person.
Exactly.
You can do this. You'll put the work in. And when students know it's genuine, and we actually care, they'll accept, I don't want to say criticism, but they'll accept a little tough love, like my mom said. If they don't trust you, they won't accept it. Like all of us, right?
Constructive criticism, right? And how they can succeed and be better.
Yeah.
And so, Phil, one of the other things too, I know the twins have finished now 2 years of university. Do you want to tell us where the kids went to school?
100%.
And how they found the transition from high school to university?
Absolutely. Terribly important. Okay, so my oldest daughter, the twins, my daughter is just finished second year engineering at Queen's University with a specialty in chemical engineering.
Wow,
and my son is just finished second year business at Ryerson, and he's going to, I don't know why, but he wants to follow in his father's footsteps, and he's going to get into the real estate program there. And so via that, he's doing a summer internship program at like a European-based real estate investment trust. So he's doing really, really well. And so, you know, it's what I would say is this is the great thing about the school is it's really, I mean, I'm not sure that, because kids, they don't know what they don't know. And so when it comes to, oh, you know, what's university? And we're like, what's going to prepare them for university, all that kind of stuff. is what prepares them for university is having the confidence to actually go in and do it. Because, it's not about, in grade 12 that all the teachers can sit there and start lecturing like a first year university professor. They can't, right? Because they're just not there yet. And it's almost like they need to be in it in order to understand it. And what I think is important is that what you guys do really well is you give them the confidence to go and say, well, I don't know what this is going to be like, but what I do know is that I can figure it out.
Right.
And I think that's the most important thing is to understand that, because I've done calculus, I've done functions, I've done whatever, physics, chemistry, whatever. I completed all those subjects that frankly are not easy subjects to understand, but it's really more about having the confidence to go in and say, well, this is really kind of like a foreign, learning a new language almost. And the only way you're going to learn that language is if you're kind of like swimming in it. And so I would say that is really the key thing about Toronto Prep, and what they do very well is and it circles back to everything else, right? But it's really more about giving them the confidence to say, okay, fine. If I just hunker down and I do the same thing that I've always done, I'll figure this out one way or another. So,
right. And that's what we try to stress to the parents. I say to them, some parents will ask me, well, my child's sitting in a class of 16, and so therefore really doing well in school and getting top marks because they're getting the attention from the teacher and this and
100%.
that. But I say to them, that's what you need to have to learn the skills that the teacher is trying to teach them.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? And so your child could be plucked out of a class of 16 and thrown into a lecture hall of 1,000.
Yeah.
And when the professor says, I want you to read pages 50 to 100 and make notes, your child knows how to do that.
Yes.
Or if the professor says, I want you to study these 3 physics problems, your child knows how to attack those problems.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if there's 1,000 in the class or 2 in the class. Yep. The skills were learned in a small class to make sure that they were embedded in your child and that they
100%.
learned them. So then they could use them in the real world out there, be it real estate, be it physics, be it drama, art, whatever that may be. These are skills that are transferable and that can be used not only at university, but hopefully in a job that they get, an occupation led, organization, hard work, ethic, confidence, so important because you're willing to try, self-esteem.
Absolutely.
These are all the things. So I said, it's like, think of a baby when you're teaching the baby how to walk. You're holding their hand, and then eventually you let go and they start to run. Same idea with high school. That's why we think the class size is so important. And in all the years you were here, Phil, right? We never switched from 16. We're keeping that. That's our mantra. It's 16 still, no matter what grade you're in, no matter what class you're in.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's sort of the key, I would say the key component for, and I think while we're on the subject of university, I think it's really important for parents to understand the level of support the children have in grade 12 when it comes to the whole sort of cradle to grave university application process.
That's complicated.
I was blown away by how amazing. I mean, it's great because when the parents can kind of sit back and go, we just let we just let Toronto Prep and the guidance team take care of it. It is incredible. I mean, you guys do it better, I think, now, because I have nieces and nephews that go to UCC and St. George's and what's the all-girls school there? Anyway, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Bottom line is, none of them are seeing the same level of support that you guys are giving your grade 12 students. And I think that is critical in the admissions, in the whole process of sort of getting the kids to a level where they need to, think about everything they need to think about for their applications and actually completing them. And so I would say that is an absolute success factor. You guys do better than anyone I know. So
Thank you.
Nice to hear.
That's really good to hear because it is overwhelming, and it wasn't like when I was in school. I was going to
and
UP,
and
that.
me too, Fooly, where we had to kind of write out all our applications and all that stuff, right? Mail them
Right.
in.
Mail them
Even
in,
me
and
18 years ago was much less complicated.
right.
It was less complicated. It's
And
very
now
complicated
it's
now.
complicated now because now you apply to programs and there's averages and there's
Yes.
there are letters of recommendation.
No, but and as Mur says, Mur for everyone is my sister, the head of guidance. You click one wrong button, everything's online now, right? And you don't apply properly. We don't want that. We want the grade 12s focusing on their academic work.
Yes.
We're going to hold their hand through the process, but we need to make sure that we do everything perfectly just so to make sure it gets uploaded properly.
But also we follow up on the kids, we want to make sure they are successful at the university level. Parents, thank goodness, share with us. My daughter's here, my son is here, he's doing gratefully. The kids come back to visit, which is nice at Thanksgiving. And
we have family members that are spies. So for instance, one of my godson meets with Phil's, again, we're not going to use names, Phil's son all the time. I knew all about
Well, they're best friends, right?
Yeah.
They're best. So these two kids are at different schools in Toronto and still stay in touch because they went to TPS, which I think is amazing.
And here's another good segue so my daughter's best friend group and my son's best friend group all went to school from grade 9 to grade 12 at Toronto Prep, and they still get together. He considers them his best friends, including your godson. And they regularly still see each other.
Yeah.
Phil, they were telling me I go to my godson. So who do you see? This was so when they first go, about a month or two in, I try to talk to as many people as I can. How's the transition? Because I know it's tough, right? We all know it's tough. I said, I met up with Phil's son, and we were studying. I said, you could just meet up and have fun. You don't have to do. No, we're doing our work. I said,
we all know what that is.
Well, I love it when they send me a text picture, the one Conky sent me one, where all the girls are sitting around a table having lunch. It was amazing.
Isn't it great?
So she met TPS students at Queen's that maybe she didn't even know as well here. So she had her group of friends. But the graduating class was 90 some odd kids, right?
Yeah.
So she says, I ran into other kids and from other years, like maybe that child was in third year at Queen's. So all our engineering kids at Queen's, she sent me a picture to show me the group of them. There were about 10 of them sitting around at lunch in the cafeteria.
And I said, Phil, I think you're at our alumni thing. Did you come to that, Phil?
Our 10-year
Our
reunion.
Eglinton Grand one?
Oh, yeah.
I think you came to, I could have sworn we were hanging out.
No, it was the golf tournament.
The golf tournament, absolutely, you're right.
Yeah.
There's another, either way, we do all these alumni things, and it's great when people actually come to them.
Yeah.
It's really great that people come, and it's amazing for the students, but also the staff. It's actually for us, really.
Yeah.
It's the best for us to see how great our kids are doing.
And successful, and with jobs, some of our kids are doctors now.
Wow.
Which is amazing. Engineers, we have one young lady who's working on the LRT right now. So I said to her,
documentaries we have.
Yeah.
But the LRT will be ready. It'll be ready next year. Just for everybody to know, it'll be ready next year. She says they're testing trains now already. But it's wonderful to see them do that. To see them go on with their lives, and some of them are getting married now. Because it's 12 years now going.
Some have their own children.
Some have their children. Yeah. So it's lovely to see that. It's so rewarding. I'm so blessed to be in a career where the rewards just don't stop.
Well, and I think it really it's testament to the way that you set up that whole experience. And I think the other critical success factor that's important for new parents to understand that really I don't think any other school has is this the homework club, but also resource, the sort of, and of course, the late start is huge. The 10 a.m. start is fantastic, but also the ability to come in at 9 o'clock and see a teacher or see the sort of math and science resource teacher, or the English/history resource, and then the after school, and then having that support. So if your teacher is sick or your teacher's not available, then you can go in to see whoever the math and science resource person is, and or the English, history, whatever teacher is, that you guys have staffed there every single day for these kids to kind of draw on. And so I think that is absolutely huge, particularly in the sort of younger years, kind of grade 9, 10, 11. I mean, of course, in 12, it's important, but like to be able for the kids to draw on that, I think it's pretty special, and I think it's important for it really, what it does is, if you're a parent who was hyper focused on your child's education and you're sending them to tutors and all this kind of stuff, when you send them to Toronto Prep, they don't need a tutor anymore.
Right.
Why? Because you have this resource that's open Saturday mornings, right? And then even during, and I think this is important, during exam time and just before exam time, you guys are open Sundays too for resource.
And you know what? That was student driven.
See?
They came to us and said, Mr. T, they went to Steve, Mr. T.
Oh, by the way, for everyone, Steve is my dad.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Steve, but like everyone knows, he's ubiquitous with the school. So yeah, Steve, principal, my dad.
And they said, we open on Saturdays, but we would love a place to study on Sundays. Can we do that? They even said, we'll just come in and study. And if teachers are there, that's great. If not, there wasn't. So of course, what we did is we brought in the resource teachers on the Sunday, and then said to the kids, okay, you can come in during this time. And we started that very first year, and we haven't stopped. Now it continues even to this day.
I think it's outstanding.
When the kids ask you for that, then you know that they're really appreciating what the teachers have to offer.
100%. And us as parents, I mean, to be able to have a place for the kids to go, on a Sunday, during the day to study, or if they don't get something and they know they have an exam the next day or 2 days from now, it's really, I think that's important for parents to understand, for sure.
Right, exactly. And some will come in and just meet their other friends and sit around the table like they do at university, and
Absolutely.
share their knowledge and do questions together. And
we love that.
Teacher.
As you say, my mom always says, like, again, another cliche, but true. We want kids to like coming here and enjoy coming here and feel comfortable. If they don't, this is all for naught.
Yeah,
we can push them again. Academically, we know what we're doing. We're rigorous. We can do that.
Yeah.
But we want the kids to enjoy coming here, feel comfortable, and want to hang out. You want to come and meet your friends? Go, perfect.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just don't wear ripped jeans. My dad will throw you out. Other than that, do what you want, right?
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
So, wait, Mom, there's a couple questions. I love how we haven't even gotten to these questions.
We have.
We've got the one I wanted, Phil, just selfishly. The one says, what would families find most surprising about the school? I want to hear your answer.
That's the one I
Oh gosh, well, I mean, there's a few things, but what I would say is just, and I'm just sort of repeating myself now, is I would say that the most surprising thing is the levels of support for the university entrance in grade 12. Because like I said, that level of support was so surprising. I've never seen anything like that before. I've never heard of anything like that before. So that certainly was surprising. And then I think the other, I mean, it doesn't surprise me, but I think it's important for kids to understand is the level of what's the word I'm looking for? The level of sort of, I mean, eyes on, really, from Fuli, Steve, you, whenever your child is having an issue, it's not like, oh, we're going to let the underlings handle things. It was like, okay, Fuli, Steve, we're having a meeting right now with the teacher. We're going to get everybody in a room and we're going to talk about this. And you know, I've never seen that before. Like, and particularly in the case of where we had a couple of issues and we had that, I think it was great because it shows that everybody from the top down cares. you know, and everybody from the top down wants to see your child, you know, get better and succeed. And so that was also a big surprise. So, and then, you know, there's other sort of nice things, but I would say those were the two biggest ones from our
I
perspective.
find that, thank you, Phil, for that, but I find that some people are surprised that, you know, that we have kids that are doing engineering at Queens, that we have kids that are at Princeton University right now studying life sciences, that we have a young man at Cornell Business School in the States, at the University
That
of
we have
Miami.
fashion or music kids at music school.
But I think they suspect that because we're a small school, maybe kids are coming to school because they can't, quote unquote, cut it in the public system or at another high school. And I'll say, absolutely not. Our kids are just as capable, and I would pit our graduates against any other graduate, not in
100%.
Ontario, in the country, in the world, because they are going out in the world and conquering and excelling at schools like Parsons School for Design, or like I said, Cornell or St. Martin's or Leeds University in England. Our kids go out into that world and they kick butt, whatever they're doing, whatever
100%.
they have. And so people are like, oh, I didn't realize your graduation rate is 99% first selection university. And when they come to me and they say, well, do the kids get into university? I said, I'll give you one better. Our kids graduate university and do very well. Because to us, that's the key. That's the success. Getting into school, yes, it's hard. I understand it's hard, but 1 in 3 kids will drop out the first year or be asked to leave. That's not the case with a TPS graduate. Not at all. They go in full gangbusters ahead and they rock. And so I tell them, if you're going to any school, please ask them what the success rate is of their kids at university, not just who gets in. And that's really important to us.
Yeah. And so, and I mean, you can see because you're a small school and you're still new, that a lot of people will kind of view your school as that. And you know what, I as much as it bugs the heck out of me too, is just as much as it bugs you. You don't really know until you know and you're in it, and then you get people like me go, wow, you know, like thank God I sent my kids to TPS, because I really don't know what. I mean, listen, I'm sure they would have been fine, but there's no way any of my 3 kids would have achieved, I don't think, the level of success that they did if they'd gone to another school. To be
But
frank.
they did build, thank you, but they did what they put the work in.
Yes.
Right? Like we did, your kids worked.
They bought into
They
our
have
plan.
different aptitudes for different things. Like your kids are really across, I mean, singing to athletics to academics. So they go across it, but they put the work in, right?
They trusted us, and it's all based on trust. And then some parents, like you, Phil, that was so nice and said, when they came to the school, you know, especially my first and second year that we had opened the school, and the third, they said that they didn't feel like it was a new school. And I think that goes because Steve and I had over 50 years of academic experience and working with kids that we brought to the school. And then the teachers we hired were experienced, tried, tested, and true people we had worked with, colleagues. So they were proven commodities, if you will, right?
For sure.
So we took that. So really, we were a new school as an entity, you know, as actual Toronto Prep School, but the people that were here had years and years of experience. And I think that's attributed to our immediate success. Actually, we went from 71 students in 2009. Last year we had 430.
Wow.
So over 12 years, we tended to grow. And our biggest marketing, if you will, or advertising is word of mouth.
Yeah.
That holds substance to me versus a picture in a newspaper
100%.
or a picture in a magazine, right?
100%, without a doubt.
People talk.
Okay, so this is my next one. I'm going to change the wording of the well-written kids questions, very well written, but I'm going to put my own spin on it.
Okay.
Phil, when you're at home, what do you guys? Okay, how do I say? How does the family talk about TPS? Like, what do your kids say about the school? What kind of conversations have you had about? We use Mr. Oath's name. A teacher? Anything funny at the dinner table?
Well, you know, it's interesting. We you know, there are some teachers that do come up, you know, and we talk about what are they doing now? You know, one might be off in Greece at an olive farm or something like that,
You're right.
So, we often talk about him, and
Sure.
and because he was an inspiration to frankly all three of my kids. And so, and he, but there's certainly, we talk about them more kind of like in a sort of fun loving way. And to be frank, I mean, listen, I'm going to be real. Like there are on occasion, there are some teachers that, and it doesn't happen frequently at all, but there's going to be some that's, some kids just don't see eye to eye with. And I think this is important because you do this extremely well, is that if there is a teacher that your child doesn't see eye to eye with, the great thing about Fuli is that you can call her up and you can say, Fuli, my child doesn't see eye to eye with this teacher. Can we do something? And immediately Fuli says, I'm on it. And the next day, your child's in a different class, right? With a different teacher. And so it surprises me, but then it doesn't surprise me because that's what you guys do really well, is that your attention to the child's needs are like hyper-focused. And I think that, because let's face it, I mean, you get the gambit of personalities on both sides, on the child side and on the teacher side. And so if for some reason it doesn't mesh, what I love is that I can pick up the phone as a parent and I can call Fuli, or I can text Fuli, or I can email Fuli. I can't believe I can text the vice principal of my children's of my children's school. I think it's amazing. And I can say, there's a bit of an issue here. Can we resolve this? And you guys are on it. So that's important.
Right.
And Phil,
And thank you. And I'm just going to say, and not because Phil's just one of my favorite people in the world that I've shared my cell phone. My cell phone is right on my business card.
That's right.
Yeah.
Because we're dealing with kids here.
I know.
Well, we've gotten into this, but not into it. Other principles that we talk to and people, we talk about this kind of stuff. What do educators do? We sit around and talk about the stuff we do at work, and some people think it's wildly unprofessional to share your personal device with a parent. And we're like, if there's an emergency at 2 a.m., I want Phil to call. Like, we're not going to take care of it. Are you, of course, we're going to take care of it.
First and foremost, I'm a mom, right? Second, I'm a teacher, and then an administrator. So
exactly.
I've been there. I've been there when a mom will call me at 9 o'clock because her child is freaking out because they were sick with the fever and they have a test the next day. But this speaks to our families and to our kids who want to do well. And so if she sends me an email or gives me a quick text message or calls me, and I could say, don't worry, I'll talk to the teacher in the morning. We're going to postpone the test. We're going to do this. Make sure your child's okay, is taking his Tylenol or whatever. I'm going to do that because if she waits till 8 o'clock in the morning, I know that mom's not going to close her eyes. She's going to be worried all night. I know that child's not going to get better. So there's nothing wrong with that. And you know what? And I will answer in due time. And if I can, I will immediately, because I want to take some of that stress off of them.
Yeah.
And in the end, it takes stress off everybody, the teachers, the school, and everybody.
And in no way, Mom, does it impact, this is the conversation we have all the time too. In no way does having that closeness impact the academic integrity of the course.
Right.
You can be, and this old model that my mom and I talk about always, we call it an old British model, but let's just call it an old model where distance between educator and educated has to be there for effective learning. We don't believe in that.
No.
That
we're family.
Can be there. We're family.
Yeah, we're family.
Accountable and respect. It's all about respect, right? Familiarity can be there as long as there's respect.
Yep.
And so people respect our knowledge and our behavior with their kids, and they have trust in us that we're going to take care of their child. And we have trust in the parents that they will understand what we're trying to do. There's a method to our madness.
Yes.
And to have faith in what we're doing because it'll work out in the end.
Yes.
And thank goodness. And that's why I said, coming back again to the old, we accept families to the school. Is because we have to work with the families. We have to work with the mom and dad. We have to be on the same page.
Yeah.
And if we're not, then we're sending different messages to the child, and the child gets mixed up, and it's not happy for anybody.
No.
So that's why we do that. So yes, absolutely.
And so this is interesting because I think it segues neatly into a question that I found interesting and had to give some thought. And that is, what advice would you give to parents just entering the school? And so, sort of reflecting back on my experience, what I would say is, let Toronto Prep teach your child, and you focus more on being the loving, supporting parent, and paying super close attention to their mental and physical state. I mean, you guys, I mean, what's great about the school is that you know, if they want to be active, and they can be, and I think it's important for them to be, but I think it's like all of a sudden you really don't have to worry about getting them to tutor or ensuring you guys do a great job of ensuring their academic success. So if I could sort of reflect back and say, well, what should I have done differently? And that is, I probably would have focused more on my child's mental success and helping them tackle the sort of mental hurdles that these youths go through from 7 through to 12, and then ultimately as they go on to university. And so, and I don't know whether that's corny or what it is, but it's certainly something that I thought of, that I think is important. And so what does that say to you? It says that, well, when I send my child to Toronto Prep, I don't have to worry about them academically. I can just say, well, let's try and make them a good person, but also help them if they have any issue, from a mental perspective.
Right.
So that's what I think.
That's good, because that's what I tell the parents when they come in. I'll say, you know what, because some parents will turn around and say, Julie, I can't do grade 7 math anymore. I mean, I can do it, but I don't want to sit there and do it with my child. You know, I've got 2 other kids that are in grade 5 and grade 3, or I have my career, or, oh God, I got to try to remember my grade 9 French, and everything else. And I'll say, yeah, I don't want you to do that. What I want you to do is, I'll ask for parents is, if we phone you up and say, we'd like little Johnny in at 9 o'clock tomorrow morning to go over French with his French teacher, or we're keeping little Sally home, are keeping her at school today till 5 o'clock because her homework wasn't done.
Yes.
All I want from you is to say, good work. Yes, she's there. He's there.
Exactly.
That's the support we need from the parents.
Yes.
That when we ask for the child to come in for extra help, or we ask them to come in and redo a quiz or something like that, that the parents will say, oh, the school wants you there. You're going to be there. You're going there. And we'd like you to come in on Saturday. So that's great that my teachers are carrying that out, that the program is doing exactly what I promised. That's really important to me. And during those initial meetings with parents, like we had when you first came in, I said, oh, well, we do A, B, C, D, E. I would be mortified if there was something there that I promised that we didn't carry through with. Yeah. And that's really important for me, that we do carry through with what I say our school does. And
so because as parents, you can be hyper-focused on, your child's academic success, as academic standing, and then ultimately getting into university. But you really, the great thing is when they go to Toronto Prep, you don't have to worry about that. And so I would say that that's really, really important, particularly in this day and age, with awareness of mental health and stuff like that.
Absolutely. And we do a lot about that. And thanks to your kids too, who helped with all the charity work we've done, where we have Mental Health Week, when we did
Terry Fox.
Spirit Week, your kids are right there, lots of spirit and athletic, and our spirit banquet thing that we do at the end of the year was great as well. That's really important to us, and we were so happy your kids are so active in that. And we try to make sure everybody is, we don't want anybody, 100%. Even at lunchtime when we walk around, if there's somebody sitting by themselves eating lunch, we will move that child in a very a judgmental, picking you out of a crowd way, and bring them into the fold, so they're not feeling, haven't found their people yet. So they want to make and have a lot of fun at this school as well. School's got to be fun, or kids won't want to come to school, right? If they're not happy, they're not going to succeed at school either. So you got to have, and I always say to parents, teenagers need as much attention as nursery school kids, and even more so, because again, I raised two children, a daughter and a son, and they went through those high school years.
Yeah.
And guess what? At nursery school, everybody's looking out for those babies, right? Everybody's going to make sure a baby doesn't fall and a baby eats. In high school, because kids grow so fast, they get tall, they get big, they discover the other side, you know, boys and girls and dating and parties and this and that. There's so many bad influences around, and kids can have brain farts and have big ones that could destroy their whole lives.
Yep.
Who's watching them? We cannot watch them 24/7.
Yeah.
So what do? We have to build their self-esteem and their confidence,
Yep.
so that when we're not there, they're going to have the fortitude to turn around and say, no, I'm not doing that. Or I got to go now. I'm going to walk away.
Yeah.
So they have so many pressures around them, teenagers, all the time.
They sure
To
do.
be good looking, to be smart, to be athletic, to fit in.
To fit in, but then to be a leader. Like it's a paradox, right?
They're just finding themselves. So they need us. They need the parents, like you said. I'm so happy when I hear you say to be more involved with their mental health state and what they're doing at home, and leaving the academics kind of at the school. Then us at school, building their academics, but continuing your hard work at home. Continuing giving them the same message that you're giving at home, giving them at school, which is all again about respect for yourself first, respect for your family second, and respect for your school third. This is our mantra that we do all the time and all the time. And I think we live it and we show by example. And working with families like yourself. I mean, I feel like I've never worked a day in my life, Phil. And all the parents are like you. I feel like I'm at a perpetual, you know, social event. I feel like I'm having tea and coffee with everybody, and I love that. I enjoy it so much, and that's why I keep doing it, right?
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
Phil was the best talking with you. Selfishly, it was the best. I wish we could do this off camera next time. We'll get in person when we're able to do it.
Exactly.
We miss you. We miss your. I know you're just gone. You're just
we miss
gone.
you guys too.
We miss you a lot, Phil.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for doing
No
this.
problem. Anytime. It was really great to see you. Take care. Have a great day. Okay.
You're the best, buddy. Bye, Phil.
Bye. Bye.